So Lee, how have the players reacted to training this week after Sunday?
Yeah, it's the same as always. You know, good reaction, working hard and trying to find those small details in training that can make the difference on a match day.
How do you look at the league table now? Because you have said before that you just concentrate on the club and everything like that. You don't focus on other teams. But are you starting to look at Sheffield and Blackburn results now and just think like, oh, this is what we need to catch them?
No, not really. I think it doesn't matter what they do as far as we have to do something first. So yeah, I mean, if we get the results we need, then obviously we naturally look at their results next. You know, but ultimately, when I walk off the pitch at the end of the game, someone will let us know what's happened. But you know, if we don't win, it ultimately doesn't matter.
It's Lewes away on Sunday. The Dripper Pan is, as everyone knows, is a tough place to go. We've seen that in the FA Cup with Man U, despite them winning. You know, Lewes put on a fantastic performance. But looking at the season, Lewes have been up and down, and they're in the bottom half of the table, which people wouldn't really expect from them. What do you actually expect from a team like this going into this type of game that's so important for us?
I think they're probably in a little bit of a transitional phase around how they're trying to change how they're playing. They've always been very solid, very hard to break down, don't concede many goals, but also don't score many goals. That seems to have shifted recently, and they've certainly scored more goals, which, you know, they've got an individual that's doing that really well, but as a team they're scoring more goals. But obviously it does mean that they've been a bit more open to goals at the other end. You know, seeing a 3-2 game with Lewes involved is very rare. So yeah, I think they're probably trying to add a bit more of an attacking edge, but ultimately lots of really good players, lots of experience in their side. Really tough place to go. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. A proper club, proper people.
And you've expressed about our injuries this season and how unfortunate we've been. Good news is that we've seen Merrick and Mary running on the pitch and everything like that. How are they looking? Also, Rachel picking up an injury during warm-up. How is the injuries looking?
Yeah, I think they're in the same sort of place. I think Rachel should be okay. You know, we'll just get her through. It's a bit more of a last-minute thing, and saying the warm-up where we just had to manage it. We had options on the bench, so we just wanted to be sensible around her. Yeah, it was good to see Merrick and Mary out on the pitch. And hopefully they won't be far behind. It's sort of a day-by-day thing with them, just to make sure that there's no setbacks. But in general, they're in a good place, and hopefully can be back on the pitch soon.
And we've seen Eleanor on Sunday perform a fantastic performance against Birmingham. Since she's came back from injury, how important has she been, you know, in that number one spot? Because she is actually our most capped goalkeeper this season.
Yeah, I think it's well documented, our goalkeeping situation at our course this year. Yeah, and it's good. The main thing is with any keeper, whoever's been in, is to try to get them a run, try to get them, you know, playing consistently without knocks and niggles and injuries coming in, and cup games maybe where you've rotated it and things like that as well. So yeah, ultimately all players were better for playing consistently, and we definitely saw a good performance from her at the weekend, and she will only get better and better the more she plays. So yeah, I was pleased for Elle, because, you know, she was out for a long time, and she's a good kid, good player, and I'm sure she's going to have a very good career in the game.
And finally, as the head coach, are you already planning, looking at next season, despite obviously not knowing what league we're going to be in?
I think there's always an eye on next season, especially when you get to this point. I'm sure other clubs are as well. Players start talking about what you're doing. Obviously, there's a big focus on making sure we stay in the division, and that is the ultimate goal. But there is also, you know, you have to make sure you plan for both eventualities. We've been doing that all season. We've been planning for staying in the Championship and what that looks like. That planning's in place. Last season, or, you know, ultimately we didn't get any planning in the pre-season from last season. Everything was done really quickly. So we want to flip that around and make sure this season we go into next year with enough time to plan, prepare, recruit properly, and make sure that everything's all the foundations we laid this year on and off the pitch come into play, because that's going to be hugely important, depending on which way it goes.
All right, cheers, Lee.